Welcome to Run With It, a show on running, fitness, and health. On today's episode, we have a segment on Firma Energy Wear, a clothing line that fits a healthy lifestyle. Also back on the show is Tim James, who talks about his passion for running and his running show called Running 101. With us today is Bobby Lenarduzzi, president of the Vancouver Whitecaps FC of Major League Soccer. He's also a Vancouver soccer legend who became the face of soccer in Vancouver. Also coming up later on the show, we have a contest, so stay tuned for that, and our monthly running calendar. But first, let's go to our in-studio interview. With me in the studio is president of Vancouver Whitecaps FC of Major League Soccer, Bobby Lenarduzzi. The former North American Soccer League star, Canadian international, and coach of the Canadian national team is here to talk about his passion for the sport and how he leads a healthy lifestyle. Welcome to the show, Bobby.
Thank you, Christine.
So do you like being called Bob or Bobby?
A lot depends on who's actually using my name. If it's from the original Whitecaps days, most people refer to me as Bobby. If it's more recent, then it's Bob, but I'm okay with either.
So I understand you started playing soccer at the age of 14, right? Mm-hmm. That's when your passion for soccer began. So
well, actually, it started earlier than that. Really? It was actually probably at 9 when ever since I can remember, I was kicking a ball, and even if it was against the wall and it came back to me, I was always passionate about playing soccer, and started playing organized soccer at the age of 9, and then had the opportunity to go to England at the age of 14, which you referenced, and went to a club called Reading, and was there for 6 seasons before I came back to play permanently with the Whitecaps at that time. When I was actually at Reading, I was an apprentice professional, so there were tasks that you were asked to do outside of just the playing, and they included cleaning the first team players' boots. They included cleaning out the communal bath that all the players used, sweeping the terraces. So those tasks were designed to, I think, test your character and see how badly you wanted to be a professional soccer player. And I managed to get through all those, but they don't do that anymore now. I don't think that apprentice professionals are asked to actually do that much outside of playing the game. What did your parents think when you wanted to move? Yeah, they weren't overly excited because they had immigrated to Canada from Italy to give their kids a chance at a better life. And so here I was going back to Europe at the age of 14 to pursue a professional career. So the one thing that they were adamant about was my education, and I agreed to continue that through correspondence, and didn't do the best job of that, though, and that's one of the things that I do regret, because it would have been easy for me to pursue the soccer career and at the same time maintain my education. But I had visions of stardom in soccer and really wasn't too bothered about the academic side. But it is a regret that I didn't continue it at that time. Mm-hmm. And then your brothers played soccer too, right? Yeah, I had 2 older brothers, Vanny and Sam, and 1 younger brother. The 3 of us, Sam and Danny and myself, played on the Whitecaps team in 1978, and actually there were 2 games where we actually were all on the field at the same time. So 3 of the 11 were Lenarduzzi boys, and that's something that we look back on with a great deal of pride. That's awesome. Now, you have a book, Bobby Lenarduzzi, A Canadian Soccer Story. Mm-hmm. Tell us about the book. Yes, Jim Taylor, who is a fantastic writer and has written the Gretzky book and a Rick Hansen book, and I've known him since the 70s when he used to cover, he had a column in the Vancouver Sun, and I've always thought he was a great writer, and he actually approached me about the idea of a book, and initially I wasn't overly excited about it, but what we did was we'd talk at the end of every day for about a half an hour, and we did that for about 4 or 5 months, and ultimately this is the finished product. So what I didn't want to have was have the book be criticism or critical of others. I tried to be primarily positive and tried to relate what I had done from the age of 14 through to now to actually stay involved in the sport. And I often say to people that one of the things that I really tried to do after my playing days were over is I didn't really want to get a real job. And I don't think in my job now it can be stressful, but I love what I do and love waking up every day with the challenge of making the Whitecaps a successful franchise.
And so you played, you coached, and now you're the president. So the Whitecaps had their season opener last week, and last year they made the playoffs. How good is the team right now?
Well, we think we made some upgrades in the off season that ideally will make us a better team. Our objective is to have a home playoff day. We've been in the league for 4 years now. This is our 5th season, and we've made the playoffs 2 of those 4 seasons, but we've always had to travel to the opposing team. If we can finish in the top 4, then that would provide us with an opportunity to actually host a playoff game.
And where are you playing next?
We play in Chicago on Saturday, and then the following week we play at Orlando, and they're an expansion franchise that just this past weekend attracted 62,000 plus people to their game. And not just 62,000 people, but 62,000 people that were there dressed in the team colors and providing that soccer type of support that we see in South America and Europe and the rest of the world. So that's something that I think people are enjoying, and even in Vancouver we have supporters groups that provide a very different type of atmosphere to other North American sports, and it's a bit of a differentiator for us. People enjoy that type of support coming from the fans.
And that's different. You wouldn't see that at a Canuck game or...
No, you wouldn't. It wouldn't happen at a Canucks game or a Lions game, but it does happen at soccer matches everywhere else in the world.
Now, how the soccer landscape changed in Vancouver from playing for the 86ers to now?
Well, actually, if you go further back with the original Whitecaps, we started slowly, but by the late 70s, we had won a championship in 1979. Came back to Vancouver to 100,000 people lining the streets, welcoming us back and celebrating the success of the Soccer Bowl championship. And then 4 years later, we were gone. So it didn't have the base that was required to sustain the difficult times. In between was the Vancouver 86ers, and we played out at Swangard, and it was more like a minor league sport at that time. And now we're back in MLS, and we're averaging over 20,000 people a game at BC Place Stadium. And the future looks bright. The New York City and Orlando came in this year. New York City paid $100 million for the franchise. The 2 ownership groups are Manchester City, who are a big club in England in the Premiership, and the New York Yankees also are part owners of the soccer team. And in fact, the games in advance of them building their own soccer-specific stadium will be played at Yankee Stadium. So it's becoming more of a business opportunity now than just a sport. And I think that there are groups other than soccer groups that see the potential of the game in North America.
And by having the Women's World Cup here will help raise the profile. Correct.
Absolutely. When the World Cup starts in July, and prior to that, you're going to know that the World Cup's taking place in Canada. It'll be well supported. Our national team, our women's team, did well to win the Olympic bronze in London in 2012, and so that would be great if they could get through the first round and get to the latter stages. And I think you'd find that all of Canada would embrace the team.
And Bobby, I have to say, you played all 11 positions, correct?
I did.
That's amazing.
Yes, I wasn't planning on playing in goal, but our goalkeeper got injured in the first half of a game, and we didn't have a goalkeeper on the bench, so the coach asked at halftime who'd like to go on goal, and I thought, well, let's try this. And for the most part, I was actually quite successful, but I did give up one soft goal that is something that the people that were there on that day have a chuckle at, because it was a bad goal. I didn't do very well on it.
At least you did.
Yeah, no, I was in goal, so that's the main thing.
And your usual position's defender, right?
Yes, I've played all along the back, at right back, left back, and central defense, yeah.
Now I want to go to your healthy lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do to work out and keep?
I actually, 6 days a week, I'm on the elliptical, and I incorporate some weights and stomachs, and try to, in general, make it a well-rounded workout. It lasts about 45 minutes. I try to get it done early in the morning and take Sunday off.
Which is well-deserved.
Yes, absolutely. I think, well, what I've found is that the older that I've got with each year, I found that, and I used to work out 4 times a week, that you'd put a pound on every year without knowing that, and you weren't doing anything differently. And I think it's because your metabolism slows down and you need to do more. So hence the reason why I'm at 6 right now, and feeling pretty good. And coupled with that, obviously what you eat is important as well. And I try to be careful about the foods that I put in my body.
Yeah, but do you have a favorite dish, though?
Well, being of Italian descent, it's pasta. My wife actually does a great job with the Italian food and makes a great sauce. So we enjoy that probably 2 to 3 times a week.
That's great. And now, how do the players train?
Well, the players, it's changed a lot since I played. When I played, you'd turn up at preseason, and you for the most part, had done very little in the off season and would get back to preseason training, and that's where you get fit. In all sports now, players do look after themselves. Most players do look after themselves in the off season, so they come back to preseason training with a good base of conditioning. And that's the first part. Obviously, we need our players to be fit, and there's plenty of opportunities to get that done. One of the aspects of the game that's become more commonplace is the psychological side. We have a sports psychologist, David Cox, who's very highly regarded, that works with our guys. And then there's obviously the technical side, which is your skills, and the tactical side. So our coaches are constantly planning out sessions based on the opponent you're playing against and how we want to play. So there's a lot more that goes into it now than did when I played, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, Bobby, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show. I'd like to have you back.
Sure, no problem.
And for tickets or information, they can go
Whitecapsfc.com, our website. If you go there, that'll direct you accordingly.
Thank you. And now let's go to Firma Energy Wear, which I was happy to be one of their models. Check this out.
She looks happy and pink. Yes, Christine is a runner. She's actually a very good runner. She has competed in the Boston Marathon, and I think you're second in Canada in 50.
In the 50K.
Yeah, so that's not bad. Not a bad record. Yeah. And so, Christine, do you have anything? I mean, I know you run and all that, but is there anything in particular you've noticed in running?
Well, I find it good insulation when I'm going out for a run. I feel quite comfortable. I feel, ready to. It's actually good for my recovery muscles. It helps with that. So I just feel really yummy in it. I don't know. And I know it's good material, so I love it.
Tagline is where health meets fashion. We're taking health we're taking fashion and we're integrating the two. And that is a wonderful way to go, because now if your clothing feels like fashion, feels wonderful to wear, but it's also healing, you will stay in it for hours.
And now it's time for a contest. Steamworks has provided a fabulous prize for a tour of the brewery for 4 people. To enter, simply go to our Facebook page. Now the question is, how old was Bobby Lenarduzzi when he left Canada by himself to pursue a professional soccer career? In our next segment, we were in conversation with Tim James, who talks about his passion for running and his running show. Tim, which came first, your running show or your passion for running?
Definitely the passion for running. It's something I had to develop for a few years before I did the show. So I started running maybe about 2008. That was my first half marathon I did here in Vancouver. And then it was a few years later, I was working in Calgary in radio. And my boss said to me, Tim, we're looking for a weekend feature. What can you do, something that you're interested in that you can leave for the weekend? And I thought, oh, okay. I'm interested in running. So sure enough, I called up John Stanton, founder of the Running Room, and I said, John, I've got this idea. Can I do this weekend feature with you? We'll call it Running 101, and I'll phone you up and ask you different questions about running. He was all for it, so absolutely with it. And sure enough, it turned into a thing, Running 101. My show, it plays on News 1130, so it's not running, not only runners listen to this station, of course, so I try to choose topics that apply to everyone or interesting to everyone. One topic is running a hangover cure. So I thought if you're going out the night before, is going for a morning run good? So John Stanton commented on that and said, well, it's good to get fresh air and good to go outside. This year I thought finally I'm going to do the full Vancouver Marathon, something I've never done before. Had a little bit of an injury. I was working out and just tweaked a muscle, so unfortunately had to take a few weeks off, but it's one of those things I think you can relate to. If you're a runner, you always have to have a plan B. This is the first time that I get to do the Sun Run. Not going to go for a personal record just because training for the marathon. Now I know in marathon training there are 10K tempo runs that you can do, but I thought this would be kind of a cool experience if I run it with a friend. When I was running the Calgary Marathon last year, there was a pace bunny. I was running with a pace bunny for 4 hours and 15 minutes to try and get a time under there. And I remember about 3 to 4 kilometers before, the pace bunny looks at me and says, Tim, if you keep going at this pace, you will beat your time. And I remember how inspiring that was. Okay, you know, I'm feeling terrible right now. I just want to quit. I'm so close, but it really put it in perspective. If I keep going at this pace, I'm going to finish where I want to, and it was so reassuring to hear that from a pace bunny. So if I could be the pace bunny for a friend, that would be a really cool experience as well. It's a busy stretch coming up for the spring in Vancouver. Right across Canada, actually, I know a lot of big cities have their marathons in May as well. Calgary has theirs in May. So it's a lot of fun ahead for the Running 101.
Yeah, well, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Hi, this is John Stanton from the Running Room. You're watching Run With It.
Thanks for watching. If you have a question or comment for today's show, go to our website on the screen. Now we leave you with our monthly calendar. Until next time, run with it.